ahead.
It is 9 o'clock on May 7th. We'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. So I hope everybody got a chance to review those large packet of 23 pages of minutes from last week on April 30th. With that, I will look for a motion to approve those.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion with a correction.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Hewsome, a second by Commissioner Dahlhead, and there is a correction. Commissioner Hewsome?
I believe it appears a few times, but on page 7, Dustin Grage, his name is spelled Grage instead of E. So he's on, in that paragraph, and then later he also added comments.
Are you okay with those changes there, Commissioner Dahlhead? All right. Any other changes? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes from April 30th are approved. Today's agenda, does anybody have anything to add to today's agenda or modifications? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Dahlhead and a second by Commissioner Burrell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Today's consent agenda. Would anybody like to pull something from the consent agenda for further discussion? Otherwise, I will look for a motion to approve today's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. We are moving along quite swiftly. At 9:03, we have our wonderful Sheriff Sean Derringer here for our first timed agenda item.
We're a minute late already, so I'll make it brief. Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you so much for allowing me just a couple of minutes. As we celebrate this week the contributions of our corrections officers and what they bring to our agency and our nation, keeping our correctional facilities safe and secure, I look forward to next week as we celebrate National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Week. With the combination of a law enforcement appreciation dinner at the Delano Legion next Wednesday night. For those that do not know, Wright County has lost 7 officers and deputies in the line of duty. 3 of them were shot and killed. 2 of them have died in motor vehicle crashes, and 2 have died in the line of duty from sudden heart attacks. So we do have some loss in Wright County, and the slogan of "Gone but never forgotten" rings true in Wright County. And I think that as about a week or 2 ago that we wore the black bands around our badges for a conservation officer that was recently died in the line of duty. I think that it hits home for all of us, knowing that every day that we put on the uniform and get in our squad car and answer calls for help from our public, that we have that risk in our society. So I just want to bring this proclamation forward, and I think that Commissioner Hewsome is going to read it for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Sheriff. Resolution. Whereas the law enforcement officers of Wright County have worked devotedly and selflessly on behalf of the people of this county and the state of Minnesota, regardless of the peril or hazard to themselves. Whereas these officers have safeguarded the lives and properties of their fellow citizens, and whereas by the enforcement of our laws, these same officers have given our county internal freedom from fear of violence and civil disorder, and whereas 7 Wright County law enforcement officers, including Constable Charles Albert Washburn, Sheriff John C. Nugent Jr., Marshal Rudolph Maurer, Sheriff Paul Kritzik, Sheriff James Kreitlow, Chief George Ritty, and Sheriff Roger Robel have given the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives in the line of duty, and whereas these men and women of law enforcement, by their patriotic service and their dedicated efforts, have earned the gratitude of our community.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dahlhead and a second by Commissioner Potter. This is a resolution. Any further discussion? Commissioner Potter?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes. With
Thank you
that
very
in
much.
peace.
Can I just add one more thing? It's interesting because we all watch the media at night and how law enforcement today is portrayed. I want to share something. I just received an email yesterday. It was from a gal who was on her way home to Buffalo from a Metro hospital where her mother had just passed away. She was admittedly distracted while driving. She was stopped just east of Buffalo on Highway 55 by one of my deputies. She took the time to find my email address and craft a 4-paragraph letter to me or email to me, thanking me and the particular deputy that stopped her for truly showing her the compassion. She said that he was the first contact of anyone outside of her family since her mother had passed away. She was certainly upset, and the compassion that he showed her during that traffic stop met her needs right where she was at. And so I continue to get letters, emails, phone calls like that, and it's never portrayed in the media outlets. So I'm very humbled and honored to be leading this organization of the fine people that we do, and I just thought that was a great segue to the proclamation, so thank you.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I mean, I think every year we're happy when, you know, our law enforcement gets recognized in this way, and certainly, you know, honoring those that pay the ultimate sacrifice, so.
Well, with
Appreciate
that, it
that.
probably has something to do with, the Ports Board did a wonderful review of the records of the training of the officers within the Sheriff's Department, and a nice approval and overall affirmation of the wonderful job that the sheriff is doing in his department and making sure that our officers have the proper training. It sounds like on top of it, they're getting the right training and compassion as well. So with that, I'm going to hand this letter over to you as well, Sheriff, and I want to thank you for all the wonderful things you're doing over there as well.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for reading that. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks.
You guys have a great day.
You too.
You too. Thank you, Sheriff.
All right. We're 9:08. We're just keeping the right pace here. Mr. Mattice, Parks and Rec.
I really think we need to change it. It should be Doctor.
Doctor, yeah. He's the doctor of the parks.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I thought maybe Commissioner Dahlheim was going to call me Ron Swanson, but
You got what?
Ron Swanson, Parks and Recreation TV show. You haven't
Oh,
watched it?
oh,
I wanna.
I've never watched that show.
Yeah,
We could try that.
Is it good?
I'm a lot like him. Well,
Oh, really?
It's really like a reality TV show for me.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to watch that then. I've heard things about it, which is why I never watched it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Is there a character like Mark on it?
That's what he just said, so that's why I,
I think he's like, what's that, city council member Biggs or something?
I take away the
Anyhow, I
doctor part
digest.
of it.
I hope Susan didn't get that in a minute. Here quickly today, as you know, we received a grant to start construction in 2020 ground at Bertram Chain of Lakes. With that, there will be support facilities, a comfort station, contact station, and 6 camper cabins. We put out a request for proposals for design build, similar to what we did at the beach house and the chalet and the picnic shelter, rather than traditional architect, hire an architect to do that. So this has an architect team, has a contractor team. We'll be doing design, construction, bids and documents through this year, hoping to bid out in January for construction to start in 2020. The agreement is attached to your packet that defines the cost of the contract as well as the terms. Today I'm looking for authorizations of signatures from Chair Vetch and Administrator Kelly on that contract, and we'll start our first meeting if approved on May 21st.
I'll make a motion to approve signatures on the agreement for design build services with Construction Wickleman LLC in Wright County.
We have a motion by Commissioner
second
Dahlheim. Motion by Commissioner Dahlheim, and a second by Commissioner Hewsome. Any other further discussion?
Just a curiosity question, Mr. Chair. The camper cabins, what kind of construction techniques are
There's two construction techniques. We'll be looking at camper cabins, either SIP panels, so structurally insulated panels, or stick-built.
Okay, not the concrete things,
No,
okay.
Did you want the concrete ones?
No, it'd just be, you wouldn't have to worry about the storm when it blows through, but you'll have those shelter places some way in the campground.
usually the restrooms facility.
So how about this opinion? Would you choose flat roof or gabled roof? Just curious.
What's that now?
A flat roof or a gabled roof?
Slightly pitched flat roof or a gabled roof.
Oh,
on your
I
camper
see,
cabin.
it
Just
wouldn't
curious.
matter.
Didn't matter. Okay, just curious.
There was a lot of discussion about that.
I was just gonna say, as long as it doesn't leak.
Exactly. That's the thing about flat roof. You never know.
Okay. Any other further discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Mark.
You too. Thanks, Mark.
Oh, we're ahead of schedule now. 9:11. I guess Bob, you're gonna have to wait now. All right, Auditor Treasurer Bob Hevola. The adopt a resolution in support of legislative change regarding election equipment.
Hey, good morning, Board. Just so you're aware, at the legislative level, there's a sub-conference committee to hammer out the difference between the Senate and the House files regarding elections. So this adoption of this resolution is of an opportune time. So I'm asking you to support the language in the House bill that empowers the counties to their choice of equipment, gives HAVA funds to the Secretary of State for improving election security, and then also addresses the concerns that we have over the presidential primary coming up. My primary focus there is making sure we keep the county financially whole. There's also the declaration of your political affiliation. We want to make sure that we maintain your privacy. So those are the three pieces of election that we want to make sure we get heard. So this resolution kind of addresses primarily the equipment, but also your support of the HAVA funds to the Secretary of State and the presidential primary.
And Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution in support of the legislative change regarding election equipment.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Potter, a second by Commissioner Dahlheiden. This is a good resolution. Is there any other further comment?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I'm disappointed that our local state senator stated that everybody gets hacked and it's no big deal. That, and has failed to take care of this sort of stuff for the residents of this
So
county.
Commissioner Delyden, you're saying that she had a Joe Biden moment?
Yeah, whatever.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Delight, I hope you appreciate how serious we do take that. The state voter right system getting hacked is the biggest concern to us, so.
It's nothing to make light of, yeah.
You sure you didn't hear that out of context?
Or read it
yeah.
out of the Star
I don't
Tribune, I
know.
mean, I'm not sure, so.
Yeah, I don't think I read it out of context or heard it out of context. It was pretty blatant on what her statement was.
So with that, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other further discussion? This is a resolution. Commissioner Hewson?
Aye.
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 I thought I got to go first that time.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the other
Disappointed.
thing as I want to draw your attention to is we have 3 senators representing Wright County on this conference committee. We have Senator Kiffmeyer, Senator Anderson, and Senator Matthews. So I encourage you to reach out to them. I'll let them know that we passed this resolution, but also hearing from you would go a long way. So please reach out to them and ask them to support this language.
Very cool.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I will be going down to St. Paul this afternoon, just to help Bob when he's gonna testify or talk to them about some of the issues facing elections. Just to let them know, give them a little support, and I got my file on the election equipment, just in case they need a little more backup, bring that with me.
Mr. Chair, I was notified yesterday that I am a witness to be called before them today, so.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, has our approval for getting our reimbursements for
OSA?
the OSA, is that,
It has not made it all the way through yet.
oh, it hasn't?
No.
I thought it got set aside to be put in an omnibus bill or something.
I do hope that it's not tied to the Lake Calhoun Bidet Makaska.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably thrown in the hopper, and we'll have to see what happens at the end of the session.
Great, thank you. It doesn't look like Virgil's out there, so I'm guessing Chad's speaking today.
Virgil's at a safety conference with a few other county employees down in the cities. We have our safety committee at the highway department, and Tim Dahl sits on that, and he pushes some attendance there. So Virgil's there representing the highway department today, so I'm filling in for him on 5 agenda items. So, good morning, Commissioner Vetch and Commissioners. We have 5 items for this morning, and should I just jump into them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the first one is a resolution approving a list of deficient bridges. Our last update was in 2015, and basically it lists we currently don't have any bridges that are deficient. These are the closest bridges that are ready, so as we do our annual bridge inspections, if one triggers where it's available for state bonding for replacement, we need this resolution to be able to apply for those funds. So this is just an update to our list, and this is our most current list of bridges. Like I said, none of them are currently deficient, but they're close. These are the closest ones.
These are closest. Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion adopting the resolution regarding deficient bridges.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Potter, a second by Commissioner Dahleden. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
I noticed most of these happen to be in Commissioner Burrell's
That's
district.
what I seen too.
That's where most of our
I
bridges are,
think they're
too.
good for another 10 years yet.
Well, you heard it here first.
Well, at least 2.
I'm
I
joking.
know.
No, and Mr. Chair, I want to expand upon this. Wright County, the Highway Engineering Department has kept us on top of a lot of the bridges. A lot of other counties have a lot bigger problems with their bridges than we do. And that, hats off to the Highway Department for keeping on top of it and not letting it get to be a big problem. Some counties, and not only in Pennsylvania, but Iowa and even some counties in Minnesota have let it slip a little too far. I mean, so our list is not bad compared to
No.
some other counties. And the grading of all these bridges are still better than some of theirs over there. So, and by the time they get to the 2021, 2024, they will be right at that cusp of replacing it and just, why wait till it falls down and fix it? And I just like them being on top of things like this. This is good for all our citizens.
Well, Mr. Chair, I kind of wish, though, that we had some of those covered bridges that they do in Iowa.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they're kind of neat looking, but I can understand why they're in.
They
Need of
unfortunately
repair.
had to get
So you wanna
rid
bring
of
them
them in
back?
Wright County, so.
So you want, when they repair these, you want to replace them? You want to replace them with covered
I
bridges?
think so, it'd be kind of neat, we
Add
could,
that to the next design
Yeah.
issue.
we could be, the leaders in the new covered bridge design.
It'll bring tourism to the county,
I
right?
think so, I mean, if we put them strategically, in certain locations.
Anyway, so we have a motion by Commissioner Potter, a second by Commissioner Dahleden. This is a resolution. Commissioner Burrell.
All right, thank you. I vote aye.
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 Resolution
Wanna be
passes.
left out there.
Item number 2, approve a MnDOT agreement number 1033909 for local road improvement program grant agreement and accompanying resolution.
Correct. So the townships of Clearwater and Silver Creek received $750,000 local road improvement program grant for 150th Street. It's a east-west road that partially in each township. We had to sponsor it because obviously they can't administer the state aid funds. So this agreement is with MnDOT and the county to allow us to distribute the funds on behalf of the townships during the construction.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the MnDOT agreement number 1033909.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Potter, a second by Commissioner Burrell. I do want to applaud once again Silver Creek Township and Clearwater Township in the applying for this funds and getting awarded them. This is a great project. So with that, this is a resolution.
Mr. Chair, that wasn't exactly peanuts they got here either. That was a
No.
lot of
Big
money.
chunk of money.
That was-
Yeah.
So, any other discussion? It's a resolution. Commissioner Hewson?
Aye.
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 Commissioner Burrell?
Aye. I was preparing for the next resolution.
All right, resolution passes. Item number 3, approve agency agreement, MnDOT contract 1033820 between Wright County and MnDOT.
All right, this is an agreement to advance the construction of the SAW 39 buffer lane safety project. We were awarded safety money in, I think, 2023. And MnDOT called us and said there's money left over in earlier fiscal years and asked if we could advance a project. So we said yes, because we feel it's an important one we can advance easily, so we don't need any right-of-way. So this is from the one from Monticello at Siegel, basically pavement preservation and restriping to provide a buffer lane. So in order to do this agreement, we need to advance the money, and then we'll get reimbursed when our turn in the State Transportation Improvement Program is up. So we feel it's a worthwhile effort to advance the project, and actually open bids the 28th of May.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agency agreement with MnDOT, contract number 1033820.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Dahlheiden. Any other further discussion on this Wright County MnDOT agreement?
Yes, Mr. Chair. County Road 39 is definitely, if not the busiest county road, right up there amongst them, and any attention we pay there to make that safer is money well spent for anybody who's driven that road knows it needs help now. So thanks for that one.
Any other further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 4, award local road improvement program project in Clearwater and Silver Creek Township for 150th Street Northwest.
Yes, April 19th, we opened bids, and the abstracts attached. The engineer's estimate was approximately 1.1 million. I got the exact total if you want it, but that's, so the bids opened up about 12.5% under the engineer's estimate. So the township was happy with that, and they want to move forward. So this is, we got approval from them to award it, and that's what this one is regarding.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept this proposal.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Potter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All opposed, same sign. Resolution passes. Or not resolution, sorry, motion passes.
What, was that supposed to be a resolution, though?
No.
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 Just a regular bid.
The next one is.
I would just like to
Next
add
one,
that,
item number 5, approve a resolution of final acceptance for the county state aid highway 18 construction project.
Could I add one more thing on item number 4? If you notice, it's awarded to Minnesota Paving and Materials. That name doesn't sound familiar, that's hard drives.
Oh,
They changed names now.
They
Just
do,
like
okay.
Bowerly Brothers changed to Knife River. So this is actually, if you're wondering who's doing the work, it's hard drives. So it's a local company that's been around for a long time if you don't recognize it.
How come they changed their name?
Just, they consolidated with another company, just like Bowerly Brothers used to be Bowerly Brothers and Buffalo Bit. Now they're all Knife River.
Yeah.
This is similar.
Oh, really? I guess I never knew Bowerly Brothers was part of Knife River.
Yep.
Maybe you're going to rebrand the lube shop, you know, it's the trendy thing to do.
Maybe
Not me.
Jiffy? Yeah.
Somebody else can, not me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no. So no, back to item number 5, the approval of a resolution of final acceptance for the county state aid highway 18 construction project.
Yes, so this is the final pay request to Wright Contracting for all the work under the CSA 18 project from last summer. That was our second lost project after the Waverly project being our first one. Actually, the first one completed, actually, but the second one that got started. Waverly's wrapping up this spring. But basically, you can see there's 4 entities that contribute to this project: Wright County Joint Powers Board for water main, and then the cities of St. Michael and Albertville. And this would, just wanted to reiterate that there is a 1-year warranty with bond in case there's any defective workmanship, but we don't like leaving those, the auditors don't like us leaving those contracts open if there's no reason to leave them open if we have the warranty and bond. So the work's been completed, it's been accepted. For example, if we don't get good turf establishment, if we get washouts right now, we'll get those fixed. If there's drainage issues, we'll get those fixed, but if it's caused by the contractor, they'll come back and do it. If it's just Mother Nature, we'll just hire a local contractor to come and address some of those issues, or our own maintenance folks.
Yeah, I drove through there, and looks like there are a couple of locations that are some
Yep.
issues with water standing where there never seemed to be before.
Yep, and actually, I know the Lindenfelsers, our maintenance are gonna go check it out because last fall was running just fine, and this spring it's not, so it either got plugged with
Plugged or
something or,
Yeah, I noticed one of the legs for drainage is knocked off, so,
yes. Yeah, it could have got some sediment in there,
Yeah.
so Nate's gonna go check it out,
okay,
get it
good,
figured
yeah.
out. So,
Yeah, especially with the way the weather, with more rain coming again.
yeah, you can't, yeah, it's ridiculous, so.
I'll make a motion. Did we approve, did we?
No, we need a motion. I got a
I'll make a
motion.
motion to approve it.
So I have a motion by Commissioner
that.
Dodd, second by Commissioner Hewsome. This is a resolution. Any further discussion? All right, Commissioner Dodd?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes. Thank you very much, Chad.
Thank you.
Chad, lots going on with the
I know.
road construction.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Can you hang out a few minutes?
I
Or do you
can.
have somewhere else you gotta?
No, I don't, I can wait.
It doesn't look like we got much longer to go here. I need to talk to you about, you had met with somebody the other day. I just want to follow up with
Now
you.
we're up to items for consideration. A, resolution designating May 19th through 25th, 2019 as Emergency Medical Service Week. Commissioner Hewsome.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we don't meet next week, so I asked that this be put on the agenda this week. So we ended up with two resolutions recognizing, the different groups that are often are in peril. The resolution is whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills, and whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, in recognition of this event, the Wright County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through the 25th, 2019 as Emergency Medical Services Week. With the theme EMS Strong, Beyond the Call, I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. So with that, Mr. Chair, I will make a motion adopting this resolution.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Hewsome, second by Commissioner Burrell. Any other further discussion?
Just that it's hard to believe all the things that are required for training nowadays, our local fire departments and stuff. I know when my dad was on the fire department many years ago, it was a lot different than what the requirements are today. They spend a lot of time
They do.
being trained and stuff. It's
And
very difficult.
Just think of, all the upgrades and the equipment and things that they need to be trained on. And they definitely have some issues too with a lot of firefighters have developed a particular kind of cancer that all those years that they recognize they need to protect themselves in ways that weren't really thought of in days past. So yes, the training is something between the federal standards and the state standards. So
I commend
really-
those part-time people that spend
They-
all that extra time doing that. And
definitely, they really are
at some
selfless volunteers.
At some point, it's going to end up having to change or something, just because the requirements are just becoming astronomical for people that are part-time.
And the Central Minnesota EMS, has some grant funds, but they've been going down with less funds from the legislature, or from seatbelt dollars, seatbelt non-compliance dollars, so.
Well, maybe
We
with the new rules for distracted driving and phone, or hands-free driving, that maybe they can infuse some of that money into it.
And that's something actually that I suggested several years ago. But I think that in the long term, that just a more stable funding formula needs to be coming from the state to support these EMSs.
So with that, we have a motion and we have a second. This is a resolution. Commissioner Hewsome?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes. Wonderful. Now, second item for consideration is schedule a committee of the whole regarding ERP.
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I'd like to get a date on the calendar so we can plan for discussion on the ERP. We had looked at some dates in June. We kicked around as a group the 11th, potentially in the afternoon, or the 11th following the board meeting is an
June
option.
11th you're talking
June
about.
11th, correct, yes.
Works for me.
June 11th in the afternoon.
Is there a board meeting on the 11th?
That would be a committee
Workshop.
day,
That's-
or excuse me, a
Workshop.
workshop day.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So, all right.
So,
You're not talking about doing it during the workshop, you're talking about doing it
I think
as a
we'll
separate
have a
one.
separate meeting because it may take a bit of time for discussion, so.
So we're going to do it on the, yep.
Kelly, Mr. Chair, are we looking at like a 1 o'clock meeting or,
I think that would work,
okay?
or later if it's better for schedules, but
1 o'clock.
Committee of the whole at 1 o'clock?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to schedule committee of the whole regarding ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, on June 11th at 1 PM.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hewsome, second by Commissioner Potter for a committee of the whole regarding ERP at 1 o'clock on June 11th. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now to reschedule the May 22nd committee meeting date.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a great deal of staff that are typically leading those committee meetings that are going to be tied up in sessions for 2 days there with ERP. So we don't have a ton of items that we believe at this time for committee, but we just thought it would be prudent to be ahead of it and move the committee meetings to the 21st if possible. So
That works. 21st. So I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Dahlheiden, second by Commissioner Potter to reschedule the committee dates from May 22nd to May 21st. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
What time on the 21st?
1 o'clock.
Whatever the committees there are at that point.
At 1 o'clock.
If I don't move them now. All right. Okay. Now we are down to advisory committee updates. Who'd like to start?
I
Mr.
can
Chair,
just, oh, go ahead, Mike.
Mr. Chair, would it be okay if Charlie started today?
Absolutely.
Just real briefly, I met with the Fair Board last night, and we did not, as you know, we did not get funding approved for, improving some of the blacktops and stuff. And some of the roads up there are in really rough shape, so if we're not gonna get any blacktopping done or whatever, I know they have talked about at least bringing some gravel in. And I did send a text to Virgil, and he said what they've done in the past, they've hauled the gravel for free, that Fair Board would pay for it and whatever. So he said as long as they could work it into their schedule, it sounds like it's doable, so. Anyway, no, it's just something, that, when you guys are at the fair this year, maybe pay attention to it, because the things are deteriorating, and I know Commissioner Potter has expressed concerns about that in the past too, and it's just, I know it's every time we turn around, it's money and stuff and whatever, but I just want to put it on the radar screen, so.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes.
especially at the south gate, that one's just way past, that should have been done probably a decade ago. There's other parts in there, but that's one that should have been done a decade ago.
So, and the city did bring that pathway out now on the east side of County Road 6, so it'd be nice to, at some point in the future, at least connect that up and make it a little nicer and safer for the people walking in, so, okay, that's it.
Commissioner Hewsome?
Just like to recognize Functional Industries for receiving the Minnesota Organization for Habitation and Rehabilitation Award, a Life Enrichment Award in 2019. and they were in partnership with the Self Advocates of Minnesota. So I want to, give them recognition because they do tremendous work. It's amazing all the people that are employed by them and through them. So they're able to, get them to, all these different jobs, and some are working right at functional industries, but they've been a real asset to the Wright County and to the surrounding areas. And I guess in Buffalo Safe Schools, the last one of the year, they continue to have, the discussions of how do we handle vaping, and there's been incidents in the county where kids have cartridges that are have very high THC in them, and they've actually had medical emergencies and been taken to the hospital. So all the schools, I believe, in the county are continuing to work on this and to try to figure out exactly, what is the best solutions. And so, but yeah, that's something that we all need to be concerned about for sure.
Yeah, that seems to be a reoccurring theme at every safe school meeting I've been to.
That's about it.
So we're wrapping up close on the legislative session. As far as our state assessed property goes and the administrative repeals and some of our getting some dates modified within one of our bills, the Senate File 1901 is kind of being combined with the House File 1856 in Conference Committee. The House File basically calls for a study of the process, whereas a study of just the impacts on the state assessed properties in general as a whole. Whereas the Senate version, we wanted to basically make just some tweaks to the dates to the administrative repeal process. We're hoping, I sent a letter in, hopefully that the committee will include in the final passage the modifications of the dates for the administrative repeal process, giving us a little bit more notice prior to setting our preliminary levies. So more to come on that. Myself and Commissioner Dahlleiden met with Monticello and Monticello Township regarding Briarwood. No agreement at this time. We just kind of talked about moving forward on the implementation of turn lanes on Briarwood somewhere in the next 2 to 3 years, and what that funding piece will be, how that'll be accomplished. But the actual reconstruction of Briarwood or in the other subsequent roads will be at a later agreement, as those ones won't need to be refinished for at least 4 or 5 years out. So we'll deal with it at that point.
Yeah, well, we're looking at doing it, 39 is going to be resurfaced, so we're looking at trying to combine projects.
Okay.
Also, when Mark bids out the park, particularly with all the equipment there, it might be good to have an alternate bid to have these turn lanes done at that same time. So we're trying to look at efficiency of scale. As long as we get everything there, let's look at it at that point. So we'll see how it comes in price-wise.
It's a good way to do it.
And then I also thought would bring up for discussion is maybe you guys are interested in, maybe we should have Julie put this out on social media, this campground design, and talk about how we're moving forward with the construction of the campground at Bertram, and kind of give the picture layout.
That'd be good. Just also letting people know where a lot of the funding is coming from the state.
Yep, a lot of the funding's coming from the state, so if they can kind of get the information on that, if admin would be interested in doing that, I just thought I'd run that by, but.
Good idea. Let people know, especially because we're going to be having the camper cabins, which is kind of unusual.
Which actually be nice if we could get one of those renderings from Mark Matthijs to maybe include in that, just to kind of give people.
Like a
We have a rendering drawing of it, just because it give people.
So, Mr. Chair, so the camper cabins are similar to what they have in KOAs?
Yeah, similar to that,
Real
yep, yep.
Similar, they're just
Basic,
real basic.
no bathrooms,
Yep.
just bunks.
Shelters,
a
basically.
table.
Yep.
They'll have heat though, so they'll be
Yep.
year-round.
Yep, yeah, for people who want to go cross-country skiing in the wintertime and that sort of stuff.
Fair enough.
No, it's kind of a neat idea, especially out there with that joint. working with the city of Monticello in that sports facility out there.
They digging that now?
Yeah, they're getting it, they're putting out the parking, they'll be digging the ponding out there, which they're gonna utilize for stormwater runoff, and also for watering the fields out there. So they're looking at it, again, trying to make it as most cost-effective and efficient as possible. So right now, they are working on, I think this year was 3 multi or 2?
The,
Multi-purpose fields.
yeah, they're putting those two,
They're just 2
two,
multi-purpose?
yep, 2.
So for soccer, and those other games.
These will be the future lighted fields. These ones are going to be the, I forget, the premier fields. So
Yeah.
they're raising them up. They're going to have another layer of drainage to them. And they'll eventually will have lights. But right now there's what, 6 other fields out there already, and then they're adding the 2 more
Premier, but they
fields.
won't be good for, a few years. But yeah, it's starting to come together. It's gonna be a really neat, combination with the YMCA, the city of Monticello, Wright County. It's gonna be a unique facility for a lot of residents and also people coming from other places to utilize.
I tell you, if any of you get out there on a Saturday morning, there is hundreds and hundreds of people out there. I mean, it's amazing the amount of people that are at that park between the chalet and the actual, I call the passive part of the park, the trails, and then the actual recreational part. I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of people out there on a Saturday morning.
And bike trails,
Yep.
off-road cycles, trails.
I wonder what they're doing in Sherburne County about the bikes and trails and parks.
So one other thing I was going to let you know that I'm working with the attorney's office and Trailblazer and the auditor treasurer's office to, which will come forward to you at a later date, to transfer the Trailblazer building from the city of Buffalo to the county. It's kind of more of a housekeeping piece of thing, as the city of Buffalo is no longer involved in Trailblazer. So there'll be more to come on that at a later date, but I want you to be at least aware that these conversations are taking place, so.
And Mr. Chair, just my take, before it would have had a cost at the county to do this transition. Now hopefully they found a way to do it without costing us at the county for that. Because that was the whole hang-up before
Right.
is that doesn't make sense for us to put that kind of money on that. They found other source. If they can get it all to come together and everybody can agree on it, that's the way to transition this, no cost to the county citizens.
And we've looked like we've done that. We've been able to get it so that there would be no cost to the.
A better solution.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a hide and go seek process.
No.
That's a good word for it.
So,
Our new line, hide and go seek.
Last week then, I got stuck with Commissioner Betts a couple of different times. We also met Friday morning on Bertram Lake, or Bertram Park. Different, discussed a number of different things and showed the concept plans for what the city of Monticello did with the future of that sports area. And that might be another thing to put in there.
oh, that would be good. We could get the rendering of the sports. Yeah, that would be a good idea.
That way we can show everything that's happening out there. I believe Monticello has, or either link it to Monticello. It's on Monticello's website.
It's on Monticello, the city of Monticello's website, but I think it'd be good for the county as a whole to see that, because it's kind of a eyepiece for the county as a whole.
Yeah, it's a unique thing out there.
Well, how about the preschool thing out there as well? That's kind of
I forgot about that. Yeah.
they're doing I don't know what you'd call it. It's a nature preschool.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of its first of its kind. They're holding preschool out there. It starts this fall.
Yeah,
Yep.
they've got enough students already signed up for a morning class, but they have enough room to do it in the afternoon too if they get enough sign up. And Charlie, no, we can't. I've already asked. We can't join the preschool. They say we're just too old.
You could be chaperones.
And then last night, Commissioner Potter and myself were at the 7W
MOU.
MOU with Med Council. And from the very first meeting that I ever went to with this deal, last night was smooth. It was great. There was a lot of good discussion. There were some great plans for the future out there. Nothing being shoved down our throats or anything, which was the initial concern way back when. But I do have some information that will get copies made for everybody, because there's some great information regarding how many people leave Wright County. They have some great metrics that they're looking at. So it shows how many people leave Wright County. It shows how many people actually come into Wright County from other counties. It's very neat. Some very good
People
things.
travel through Wright County.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
that was, the other thing too, with, and that's available on,
That's Street Life, it's called, on Met Council's website.
Who presented that?
somebody from Med Council. They hired a
Nicole, I want to say Swanson, but I
I
don't.
don't remember, but she's I want to call her a travel scientist, but
Yeah.
there was another name, but she's a scientist, and she looks at,
Couldn't give her the money, so they gave her a title.
yeah. But it was very, very interesting, very interesting.
Well, it's been I'll just tag on with Mark with there. From the first time we had meetings with the MOU and the urban planning organization, that's out of, pushed from the federal onto us. From the first time to this time, it's night and day. Because that first part, when I want to say Susan Harris was the chair of Met Council at the time, and she was not playing there very nice. I mean, Nick Thompson and Steve Peterson, and we had, was it 3-4 of them from Met Council, new appointees were there.
Yep.
You know, and just wanted to get to know what was going on, and the piggyback off it, what they were doing the corridors with corridors of commerce and different things, and they just threw Highway 55 on there just because I was going to be saying something about it. And they threw that into their metrics, and they were astounded of how much more traffic than they even realized was on 55. They didn't think nothing of it. Now here's the facts. Here it is before you.
No, it was a very good meeting.
A lot of good information.
Even
Yep.
back in the 60s and 70s, even then, about 60% of Buffalo at least, and probably more in other cities, but I wasn't aware of that, were commuting to the Twin Cities area. But we didn't have the population that we have now. So when you add that increase in population, in 20 years, it's been 52% growth. So you start looking at how much more that adds to the roads, and it's great to have these metrics and have a way of collecting this data.
Yeah,
So-
what was it, 52% of the residents of Wright County stay in Wright County for work? Is that what it, or was it?
That's what their metrics were saying.
Yeah.
I mean, we had other
And that's-
metrics that
yeah.
said 70% of our workforce migrate out, but I don't know how they're
Yeah.
evaluating that.
Right.
But
versus
it's,
how
again,
we're
it's
doing.
still, it's interesting
Yeah, and-
information.
Yep.
So we'll get copies to everybody, but they talked about 94 and the plans for that, and about the roundabout on 241 down by the freeway, which I'm really concerned about since I drive that every day a lot. So I'm very curious to see how that's gonna work.
I think it's gonna have the same controversy as the
Roundabout
one on
down
25 by
241?
Perkins. At first, nobody thought that would
Roundabout
work.
where?
It seems to be working just
Down by the
fine.
theater.
It works very well.
Now, which one, by the New Horizon
Quick Trip.
part or by Quick Trip?
Quick Trip.
Quick Trip, like Quick Trip, Speedway, and the theater. It's gonna be.
It'll be
Wow.
interesting.
That's a,
A lot
Dirt.
of traffic there.
What about our word of the week?
I mean, that's, because they're gonna have to slow the speed down a lot, because they
Well,
can't keep the speed at 55.
No, and it's not 55
It's not?
there,
Oh.
which is one of the reasons why they decided to look at doing the roundabout, because the speed, they have been having trouble keeping the speed down in that area. So, I mean, there has been one fatality, there's been multiple accidents at that intersection, and there was one fatality.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah, but I was very impressed with the information that came forward last night.
It was, if we could get them to come out and talk to the whole group, that'd be great. It's just so much good information, and now, like I say, with the more of trying to work together on solving common issues here. They seem to be more in tune with what's going on in Wright and Sherburne County, because we're the two of the fastest growing counties in the state, and I think some of the numbers just astounded them because they had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, they talked about 169 when they can eliminate those lights through Elk River there, and how they're planning on doing that, so.
You know what this, we should figure out who presented it, because if they could present that at a Wright County Economic Development lunch, I think it would have, it as a great topic as a whole, would be a lot of good information. That would be, get that in contact with Dwayne Northhagen, maybe he can arrange something for.
Yeah, that would be good. Nick and Steve would be the ones, and if Nicole would show up with that little presentation she had, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, this engineer from Sherburne County was the one that talked about 169 and kind of their plans. So it was really good. I'm very impressed with it.
And the other Andrew Witter from Sherburne County said that when Sherburne County redoes a road, their major thoroughfares, they put the conduits in the ground for the fiber at the same time. Says you already got it constructed up, just and they put the tracer wire in for future to see where it would go. They just put them on main routes, not every little street, but I thought it made sense because you're already tearing up the road, you have it all down there, it's just a conduit in the ground, just ready to go. Seems to make sense. They've been doing that for 2 years now. So I thought that was interesting because they actually gotten a couple of grants from the border-to-border broadband in the past, where they've underfunded that so much most people don't even bother to try for it because there's just not enough money to go around. But they've been a little bit proactive on that, which is kind of nice.
No, I'm done.
Okay, yesterday, 7W SEDS, County Economic Development System for us that we're part of. Now we're back into that. We had the meeting yesterday with a lot of economic development things going on that are with the 4 counties that are involved in this. Benton County did not show up again. That's been typical for them. But I had talked to Lee this morning about putting all that information into the workshop next Tuesday for discussion, because there's a worksheet in there that we want to have filled out by the end of the month to keep us on track. And I think that was just more than one person should be doing. I think all 5 of us need to talk about that, and hopefully Mark Hansen can come and discuss a little bit of what's going on so you all have the same information up to speed. What's in there? It's one thing that Dwayne Northhagen and the Wright Tech did is the pathways, the workforce pathways, and some of the other things, the dynamics going on. I think it's just so much information that we all need to get tuned in on that one. So that more to come on Tuesday. You'll hopefully get that in the workshop to talk about. The other thing is congratulations to Rockford School District. They got some money for safe routes to school. The Hennepin County side has been the challenge of that district the whole time. The Wright County side's been doing real well, keeping up on this. Hennepin County's a little slack, but they must have got their attention somewhere along the road because they sponsored it by a lot of different people. The city, the Rockford, Greenfield, Buffy Chiropractic, and the school, and they all went in and they got themselves a nice grant to help improve some of those, which is needed. It's one of those things that, if you get outside the Wright County, you can only go, 2,000 feet into the neighboring county with safe routes to school. We can't go all the way to their high school. Hennepin County need to step up a little bit, and congratulations to them for getting money. And I don't recall right to this moment what that dollar amount was, but it's significant to help improve the kids. They have a lot of kids that ride their bike and walk to school in that district. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Administrator Kelly?
A couple things. I was at the Minnesota County and City Administrators Management Conference last week. Very good conference as always. I hadn't been able to attend since 2013, and sent our well wishes to Steve Taylor, who was the president of the organization this year, so his term is up as of the conference. So wish him well as he moves on to the next adventure in life. Also wanted to mention that last week, we rolled up the Wright County centralized Facebook page. We've had pages in addition in the Sheriff's Department, Parks, and Public Health, but now this will be another avenue that we can to get more information out to the public. So Julie did a great job in getting that up and going, so
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice,
it is.
yep.
check it out. And,
It's very nice to get
Very nice.
the information out there. Not everyone looks at our website necessarily, but when they're on Facebook, they might check out the different pages that they like, so,
Correct.
yeah,
So
good.
it's been nice cross-promoting amongst the pages. We've got, I think we're over 500 likes already. Almost
Considering
900
you're not even
followers.
7 days, 7 days
Exactly.
active, that's pretty good.
That's pretty impressive, so.
It is.
Nice. Well, good. Now we have another poster. If we can get this Bertram piece out on there, that'd be great.
Exactly,
Awesome.
so.
One other thing I forgot to mention is that Commissioner Vetch, myself, and Administrator Kelly and Sean will be getting together this afternoon regarding narrowing down the candidates for the IT
Okay,
director. And we had, if I remember correctly, there were 61 applications.
that's
I believe.
amazing.
I believe that's correct.
So, which was fantastic. Some, of course, didn't really meet the minimum qualifications, but I think there's some outstanding people in there. There's one, though, that is a current Navy person, and we decided because of Commissioner Burrell, we weren't going to look at that one.
Can only have one.
I do want to say, I will say Baker Tilly, I will commend them on casting a wide net. They did go nationwide in finding applicants for this position, which is what we were hoping to do. We didn't want to be really pigeonholed locally. So I do commend them on following instructions and doing a fantastic job thus far.
Yeah, yeah, so, but yeah, there's some, I think there's some really good people that apply for the position. Whether or not we can afford them, is another thing, but
Right.
they're,
The next step.
there's some very good candidates. Looking forward to
Great.
discussing that.
All right. Administrator Kelly, one piece that I was wondering, have we got any information on the fiber and the cost of running fiber out to the Rasset Pit piece at all? Are we,
I
is
don't-
that still?
Yeah, ongoing discussions. IT's been meeting with different players. I don't have an update as far as the cost,
Okay.
but we're still working on it.
We're still working on that, okay. That's all I have. Then I guess we will adjourn at 9:58.
Okay.